We've talked about the Suns a little bit, and I'm sure we'll talk more about them as we get deeper into the summer. But this is the kind of team, like, if you could just nuke it, you just would, right? Like, Kevin Durant, gone. Bradley Beal, if you can find someone to take him, gone. And Devin Booker, get what you can and just start this thing over from scratch. I know it's not fun, but it works. Like, where was Houston 3 years ago? Where was Oklahoma City 3 years ago? I mean, just look at the teams at the top of the standings. Like, they all went through this awful process. Like, the idea that Phoenix is going to trade Kevin Durant and get guys back that are going to put them in the mix, that was pie in the sky before this recent stretch, but 8 straight games and right now in 11th place. Like, I think they're tied right now with Portland. Like, Portland came into this season. They fired Scott Brooks, an assistant coach. They fired Chauncey Billups' brother. Didn't give Chauncey an extension. Like, they were doing everything but printing Cooper Flag jerseys there. And they have the same record as the Phoenix Suns, a team that had nothing really to play for, no reason to be any good, as the same record as the Phoenix Suns. I assume Matt Ishbia is going to speak sometime next week. I'm dying to know what he's going to say. Like, are you really going to double down on whatever this group is? Like, does Mike Budenholzer survive? Like, I've heard some things out there, like, and I don't want to, like, don't, this is not reporting. Don't aggregate this. Like, it's not, but I mean, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Mike Budenholzer is not the coach next year. That's sort of a vibe that I get. Look, maybe Mike doesn't want to be the coach there next year. Like, maybe you don't want to rebuild if that's the direction that they're going to go. Like, they're just a mess. They are that meme where the guy's sitting in the house and it's on fire and he's saying everything's fine. Like, that's, I don't mean to just pigpile the Suns, but just, just lifeless game after lifeless game. It's just not fun to watch. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, look, Devin Booker was asked after they were officially eliminated, what lessons have you learned about what to do next year? He goes, not this, basically. He goes, everything the opposite of this.
He's had some interviews the last couple of games. Like, he's been like, you know what? I get it. We suck. That's it.
I think there's a lot of questions over sort of where they go forward because there isn't a cohesive idea of what they're supposed to do. You said it. It's a team that doesn't have any of its draft picks because it gave them all away to acquire these players. And they would pretty much have to trade everybody to get enough draft picks back to be able to rebuild this team from scratch, which is something Matt Ishbia says he does not want to do. And I do not expect him to change his tune at the end of the season if he does give a press conference. He just said in an interview, I'm not going to do that. And it's certainly been shown in his actions that he doesn't want to do that. So I don't expect him now, 3 weeks later, to have a different opinion. I just don't know. The biggest question to me is, can they get off of Bradley Beal's contract? I don't know who else would take him, frankly, which is one of the big problems. I don't know if Brad would approve the trade. I think that there has been more of a case made to Brad over these last couple of months that not only we don't want you here, but we're not going to play you. And I think that Brad's a proud guy, and I think that he wants to play basketball, as he should, by the way. I mean, the unfortunate thing about this situation in this contract is it's turned Bradley Beal into a, quote, bad player when he's not a, quote, bad player. But he's just not worth the money and the deal that he is on. And acquiring him has been sort of this sin that the Phoenix Suns can't get over. I personally am okay with the Kevin Durant trade. I know you gave up a lot. I know in hindsight it feels like, maybe too much. But I really believe if you didn't have the Bradley Beal situation on top of you for Kevin Durant's tenure there, they could have put more role players around him and Book, and I would have been willing to take my chances on that duo and see what they can do. Once Brad came into the picture, it was just impossible. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get off of his contract. Bobby Marks came up with a way they could stretch him. There was the thought that maybe they couldn't stretch him. No. Bobby went on TV the other day and said they could stretch him, but it would obviously count against the cap for 5 years. I mean, they've gotten themselves into such a terrible situation there. I was surprised, frankly, that Kevin Durant didn't come back for this game. I mean, his ankle injury must be bad because he didn't play in the last game, that eliminated him from awards consideration. And I think a lot of people had him as a third team All-NBA sort of spot on their awards ballot because he has had the best season of any player on that team. And he's still Kevin Durant and he's still so dangerous. And him not coming back for that game tells me that either the ankle was really messed up or that even he will play basketball like in a shipping container. I mean, Kevin Durant always wants to play. And he has even given up. I mean, it's sad what's happened to them and those fans. And Devin Booker had a quote where he was sort of looking around and thinking and talking about them getting to the NBA finals, what, 3 years ago? I mean, just
Yeah.
how much that they have regressed since then. It's clearly pretty sad for him and every Phoenix Suns fan out there.
Getting to the NBA finals with a more, objectively, normally put together team, right? Like with, role players and, a couple of stars and a young center in DeAndre Ayton at that time, like conventionally constructed. And now they just went all three. Like, I get what you're saying about like Beal, like, can you find someone for him? Do they do the wave and stretch? But then you're still talking about like, are you going to bring Durant back on an expiring deal? Like, are you
No, they'd
going
have to
give
work
him a
out
new contract?
something with Kevin.
Would Kevin sign that?
No, I
Why
don't
would
know.
you-
I don't know if he
mean,
would. And that's why I'm saying it's interesting to me he didn't come back for this game because because it eliminated him from awards contention, either he's just really too hurt to play, which I buy. Certainly that can happen to you. Or he has also given up to the point of where he was like, screw it. I don't even want to be associated with this team right now. And it could hurt my trade value or it could hurt, my value in signing a new contract with
because they're getting obliterated in some of these games,
exactly.
right? Like you go back to some of the games that Durant was playing in recently, like, and this is again when Phoenix theoretically had something to play for when they were in the play-in mix. Like Milwaukee beats them, or Minnesota beats them by 15. Houston beats them by like 112. I don't even want to count up what that score is, but they blew them out in a game that Durant played in.
Yes.
Milwaukee beats them by 10. Boston beats them by 20. New York beats them by 14. Golden State beats them by 38. That was 2 nights ago. And then Oklahoma City comes in and wins by 13 off a back-to-back. Like, I mean, like seeing this team give up in the way that it has. I don't know how you can look at it and be like, you know what? Let's add something. Let's tweak around the fringes here. Let's add a piece to this puzzle. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
What's Chris Paul's "I told you so" count right now?
I don't know.
He gets shipped
would they
out
have
of
been here?
Houston.
Like,
Houston has to end up rebuilding. He gets shipped out of Phoenix. Phoenix is a dumpster fire. I'm just, I don't know if the Clippers is the same situation, but I'm just saying that I would imagine, and by the way, I've not talked to him about this at all, but I would imagine that Chris Paul has been watching Phoenix the last couple of seasons and being like, interesting.
Well, Matt Ishbia, if he speaks after the season, which I bet he does, and what we like about him is he talks. He's an open owner. He'll answer your phone calls and he'll talk to you about, give his thoughts on the team. Like, you got to recognize the situation, man. Like, you come out there and say we still got a great core. Devin Booker's the kind of guy that everyone wants to build around. Nobody's buying it. I said this before. Like, they can't. Devin Booker is too old to win a championship in Phoenix. They cannot retool this team around Devin Booker during his last prime years. Simple as that. There's no way it's going to happen. And the sooner they recognize that, the better off they'll be.